Hi there, Teacher Sansao here, and today we have there is and there are. We're going to learn how to use it and when to use it. We normally use there is and there are when we first refer to the existence of something or someone. In other words, we use there is and there are when something exists. Okay? And then we're going to start with there is. We normally have there is with singular and uncountable nouns. Okay, let us start then. On this side, we have two sentences. There is a boy. So we use there is with a singular noun. A boy. One boy. Okay? And we also use there is with uncountable nouns. For those of you who do not know what uncountable noun is, an uncountable noun is something that you cannot count. For example, the word sugar you cannot count. Salt you cannot count. Milk you cannot count, etc., etc. Then we have here, there is some sugar. There is some sugar. We need some in the affirmative when we use an uncountable noun. Okay? Now, let us see from example 1, which is there is a boy, how can we make the negative and the question. So the negative is very simple. We need to add the word not. Okay, so the negative would be there is not a boy. Or, short form, there isn't a boy. Very simple. And with question, we change the position of the verb to be is and there, and we say, is there a boy? And the answer could be yes, there is, or no, there isn't. Okay? For the first example is simple, but the second example with the uncountable noun, we have to make sure that we use the correct words for negative and questions. For example, there is some sugar. How can I transform that sentence into negative? There is not some, but yes, any sugar. Remember, when we're dealing with uncountable nouns on this side here, we need to use the word any for questions and negative sentences. Okay, so here we go. With using the short form, we could say there isn't any sugar. For example, in the fridge. Okay, and then for questions, as we've seen up there, we just move verb to be before there, and then is there. Once again, not some, but any. Is there any sugar in the fridge, for example? Is there any sugar? Okay, so that's the question. And then we could answer yes, there is, or no, there isn't. Okay, let us recap. Very simple. There is for a singular noun, for example, singular countable noun, for example, a car. Okay, a plane, a table, etc., etc. So there is a table in that room. There is a table. Negative, there isn't a table. Okay? And question, is there a table? Is there a table in that room? Okay? So singular countable nouns. Now the second example, we use there is for uncountable nouns. Nouns that we cannot count. For example, sugar, milk, salt, etc., etc. Then we have the example there. There is some sugar, or we could say there is some salt, or there is some milk. So let us see the example with milk. Question or negative first. There isn't any milk. There isn't any milk. Some disappears when we're dealing with question and negative. Okay? And then the question would be, is there any milk? For example, is there any milk left? Okay? And the answers, yes, there is, or no, there isn't. Now, for this side, we have there are. With there are, we normally use there are with countable plural nouns. Countable and plural nouns. The example here, there are 6 dogs. There are 6 dogs. The exact number, 6 dogs. Then we have, there are some boys. Here we don't know the exact number, then we use some. Okay? Now, let's start with the first one. There are 6 dogs. How can I transform that sentence into a negative sentence, for example, or a question? So, there aren't 6 dogs is the negative. And then the question, once again, we change the position of the verb to be and there. So, a verb to be comes first. Are there 6 dogs? Yes, there are, or no, there aren't. Could be the answers, okay? For this one, then we have, there are some boys. With the negative, there are not any boys. We've seen the example with uncountable nouns. With the count and plural nouns, we have to use any for questions and negative sentences, okay? But with the affirmative, we can use some. For example, there are some boys. Negative, there aren't any boys. And question, are there any boys? Yes, there are, or no, there aren't. Okay? Remember, there is and there are very important in English. We normally use them when we first refer to the existence or presence of someone or something. For today's everything. I shall see you next time. Thank you.